Hello, everybody. My name is Curtis James with the Bankruptcy Information Center. I wanted to let you guys know that I'm going to be putting out a newsletter to help individuals that have gone through a bankruptcy get access to information that will allow them to get their credit reestablished further quickly. Before I get into that, I do want to tell you a little bit about my background, who I am, and what brought me to this field of work. So, I'm 51 years old. Right after high school, I went into the military. And I came from a poor background, low blue collar class. Grew up in a duplex. Parents didn't have any money. One of 5 kids, and so I didn't get a financial education. Right. So graduated high school, went off to the military, did my thing in the Army for 4 years, and when I came back, I had acquired some debt over the course of my short military career. Car loans, credit cards, things of that nature. And while I wasn't explained the importance of credit, the importance of paying on time, I mean, I had bills, I knew what they were. And so upon exit from the military, I came home, I came back to Oregon, and I didn't have anything. I was working minimum wage jobs, $5 an hour, I think is what I was making back then, in the early to mid 90s. And so I decided to go back to school, and that was very short-lived because I enrolled in college under the GI Bill, but I had, debt. I had bills to pay, and so I had to get a full-time job while trying to go to school full-time, and that didn't work out. So I eventually did not finish college and just went to work and struggled financially and struggled. I was 21 years old, very young, and not making any money. And so at some point during that time in my life, I had, figured out what bankruptcy was, and thought that might be an option for me. So while I struggled and I felt horrible about filing bankruptcy, I filed a Chapter 13 bankruptcy in 94, I believe, 1994. And I struggled for a year with that. And what's crazy is during that time frame, I had met my future wife, my fiance at that time, and had really bad credit, right? So when I met my fiance, I was not financially sound, and she was very financially sound. And so she helped, right? And I worked my way through that Chapter 13 for a year. And during that year, obviously still struggled, because that is a payment plan. A lot of you know that Chapter 13, you have to pay back every single month some of the debt. And I couldn't. So I switched from a Chapter 13 to a Chapter 7, which is a whole other story for another day. But I did. Eventually got to Chapter 7 discharged, and then began my life, right? Freshly married, just had my first child, my first daughter. And I was a 500 credit score, which is really bad. And my wife was a 700 credit score, which is really good. So I had to live with the first, 5-7 years of my marriage, everything going into my wife's name. And that made me feel horrible. I felt less of a person because of it. I couldn't provide financially because I didn't have access to credit. And if you want things in life, if you don't have the money to pay cash, you have to have credit. And I just didn't have that available to me, and that was a struggle. That was a mental struggle. And so over the course of time, it took at least 5 years, a minimum of 5 years, I think, before I even started applying again, which, looking back on it now, I wish I'd have done immediately. But, back then they didn't have as much availability for bad credit individuals as they do now. And so it took me 5, 6, 7 years just to start to reestablish, 10 years to get my credit back on track. It took that long. And what is awesome is today you don't have to do that. Today I want to show you the tips and the tools, and we've got the resources to help you if you've gone through a bankruptcy, get right back on your feet. It is a personal choice whether you choose to do that or not. And I'm not talking to or about the people that don't want to do anything. That's okay. I get it. But if you do, there are resources. There are things you can do. And if you want, you can apply to our newsletter. It's very simple as filling out a form, just giving us your email address, and we will ship that to you for free, of course. We'll be updating it with specific links and resources that you can use to get back on your feet. So just wanted to introduce myself, put my story out there. I have been through it. I've been doing it for 27 years. I've talked to tens of thousands of people, and I've learned a lot, and I'm willing to share my knowledge with you. Let's start right now with just getting you access to our free newsletter, and we can move on from there. So I appreciate it, you guys. Thank you for your time. Thank you for listening to my story, and you guys have a great day.